Hello, beautiful friends. This is the organizer advisor, Dr. Lisa Winfield, here to help you enhance your happiness and transform your life. Today's organizational video is very important because we're going to be talking about something that can affect our eye health. So I want to share with you my best tips, tricks, strategies, and suggestions on how to clean our eyeglasses and contact lenses and support our eye well-being. So grab your hydration beverage, let's have a sip and a sit, and I'm going to walk you through how to take care of your eyeglasses and contact lenses. So let's talk about why this is important. First of all, your eyeglasses, clean, smudge-free, and scratch-free, supports your eye health. And clean eyeglasses just don't help our eyes see well. They help our eyes stay well. So let's talk about what to do to clean our eyeglasses to support good eye health. The first thing that we do when we are cleaning and organizing any specific type of item, we are going to gather them. So I want you to go gather all of your eyeglasses and your contact lens items. Now, check your car, your purse, bedside table, where you often read, and the kitchen. Make sure we get them all together because we want to take an inventory of what we have. We want to see all of the eyeglasses we have so that we can determine needs, and then we're going to go ahead and do some preventative maintenance before we clean them. So let's get started. Okay, so we've gathered all of our eyeglasses and contacts. Now I'm going to set this aside. This is all my contact items. We're going to address that after we talk about the eyeglasses. So now this is important because 4 billion people on this planet wear eyeglasses, 57%, 1 in 2 human beings. This is going to affect half of the people on this planet. So I hope you find this video helpful and informative. But the important thing is we have invested, in some cases, a ton of money in our eyeglasses and frames. So we want to take the best care of them as possible in order to extend their life and maximize our usage on that resource and our investment. Once we have gathered all of our eyeglasses, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a little preventative maintenance. Now, the couple of things that often happen is you're going to see some issues. One is the temple, this part, is going to separate from the frame. In some cases, we can fix that, and we're going to talk about how to do that and also how to prevent it. Another thing that we're going to see is sometimes the lenses pop out. Sometimes we can fix them. So we're going to talk about that. And then sometimes the temple is just loose, and in order to keep it from breaking or falling off, we're going to do a little preventative maintenance, and that's where we're going to start. You're probably going to want to get an eyeglass kit from either your optometrist or your pharmacy where the eyeglasses are. And in your kit, you're going to get a little replacement nose bridges. You're going to get some replacement screws. You're going to get a little screwdriver. These can come in varying sizes, but most often you're going to get a little Phillips head screwdriver. It could be a common, but normally it's going to be a Phillips head. And some kits even have a little magnifying glass. Now, of course, it's important that you have a magnifying glass because if you wear glasses, it's going to be difficult to see that little tiny screw. So that's what we're going to do first. I'm going to do a little preventative maintenance on my glasses. I'm going to use my magnifying glass. And I'm just going to use this little screwdriver. And I'm going to tighten the screw that holds the hinge, that goes through the hinge that holds the temple on the frame. So you don't want to tighten too tightly because you can break the plastic or the metal. You can bend it so that your temples don't move hardly at all. So there we go. Perfect. That's what we want. This is going to keep our eyeglasses on our face more securely so they don't slide down, and we don't want to constantly be pushing our eyeglasses up. So if you have nose bridge parts, you can use some replacement parts to replace the nose bridge so that your glasses don't continually slip down. You can use little silicone pads. They have little moleskin pads, but that will help, especially if you wear your glasses where your head is leaning down and it keeps slipping. Okay, if you lose a screw to your eyeglass temple, to the hinge, you can replace it with a screw out of your kit. You may be fortunate in your eyeglass kit, you get a little tiny pair of tweezers so that you can use these to find a little tiny screw, and these are tiny. you'll get a couple of size screws to be able to fit your kind of glasses. Oops. I'm using a soft, cushiony pad here. I don't want to, if you're working on a tabletop or countertop, you may want to put a towel down, but then you can use the tweezers to replace the screw. Again, don't press too hard because you don't want to strip your screw either. There we go. Now, another thing that can happen is that your lenses can pop out. You can gently put them back in. But first, before you handle your lenses, you always rinse them first because you don't want to be handling them with any kind of dust and debris and that you scratch. I'll use this later to clean all the glasses, but I'm just going to rinse this in this water, and it's just 1 drop of dish soap. I'm just going to pat it dry with a soft towel. In the next segment, we're going to talk about what's best to use for cleaning your lenses and wiping your lenses, because you don't want to use towels or t-shirts. So stay tuned for that. So now I'm going to just gently pop this back into the frame. There we go. Make sure it's in there sturdy. And now another repair is complete. Now, so routine maintenance would be just to check your glasses, make sure the temples are securely fastened with the screw. Again, don't tighten too tightly. You don't want to strip the screw. You don't want to break your frames, but you can just tighten them down a little bit, and this is going to help keep your glasses in good working condition. If you notice that the screw just turns and turns and turns, then it is stripped, and then you'll need to replace that screw with a screw from your repair kit. Okay, you get the gist. Your tip is create a dedicated space for your repair kit. Another tip, I always advocate using something that you have on hand before you go out and spend money on a specific storage device or something that's more aesthetically pleasing. If you are in a financial situation that you can do that without stressing your budget, by all means, that's totally up to you. But because I want to advocate for everyone, even those on very limited budgets, I always suggest using something that you already have. Now, this was a glass box given to me as a gift, and it's purple, my favorite color. So I just use this for my glass repair kit. I can also use it for my watch repair kit, so I keep everything together in a dedicated space so I can find it when I need it. So now we're going to move on to the segment where we actually clean our lenses. Now, remember, looking through clean, crisp, clear, non-scratch lenses is supportive of your good eye well-being. So we want to make sure that we do this frequently. Best practice is, before you go to bed at night, rinse off your glasses. Just rinse them. Rinse them under warm water. Just rinse them and let them air dry. This is going to help reduce any kind of grime buildup. But we also want to implement a periodic cleaning of our glasses so that we are keeping these lenses crystal clear to support good eye health. Now, for this, you're going to need some specific cleaning items. Some warm water with just a drop of dish soap. I'm going to recommend that you use a microfiber eyeglass lens cleaning towel. You can get this at your optometrist or your pharmacy. So you can have several of these so that we can clean these lenses. I like to use eyeglass cleaning solution. A lot of times our eyeglasses have a specialized coating, and we want to use a cleaner that is not going to harm that coating. And we also want to use a cleaner that is specifically made for cleaning the type of lens coating that you have. So if you have really specialized lens coatings, then you may want to talk to your optometrist about the cleaner that you're using. But most optometrists sell or give a lens cleaning solution to you when you get your eyeglasses. If not, you can go to your local pharmacy and get one as well. But again, if you have really specific coatings on your lenses for a particular need, talk to your optometrist before you use any cleaner. So I also have my favorite flour sack towels, but we're not going to wipe the lenses with these. Guess what? These are cotton, and cotton fibers can be really abrasive on lenses. So we're not going to wipe, but I am going to use a clean flour sack towel just to pat the lenses dry before I use the lens cleaning solution and the microfiber towel. I also have another towel just to put the eyeglasses on while they are drying. Okay, so let's get started. Talk about cleaning contact lenses in a different segment of this video. Right now, I'm just going to focus on eyeglasses. Also, we'll do a separate video on sunglass care. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to drop the glasses into the water with just one drop of dish soap. And I'm not going to stack them, so that's enough for right now. We'll put these off to the side. And I'm just going to kind of swirl them around. And then I'm just going to put them on the cloth. Also, but there's a couple of things that I really need to share with you that are important. Okay, so I'm going to use my flour sack towel, and I'm not going to, again, I'm not going to wipe the lenses. I am going to dry the frames because I want to make sure I'm getting all of the residual oils, makeup residue, any kind of face product, sunscreen residue, and that kind of sticky grime that builds up after we touch something, because that carries bacteria, and we don't want bacteria near our eye. It can lead to pink eye, conjunctivitis. So we want to make sure our frames are clean and we get all of that residue off. Now, you'll just notice this is really important. I'm going to take my flour sack towel and I'm just going to pat the lenses to remove any excess water before I use my cleaner. There. So while I'm drying these, I'm going to go ahead and put these into soak. Try not to stack them on top of each other. Just do batches at a time if you have a lot of glasses. I do. It's also really important that we clean around the bridge of the nose. That's where most of the makeup and the oils accumulate, but this can also lead to breakouts if we don't keep them clean. We're going to clean the lenses. Now, you can get these microfiber cloths from your optometrist, or you can get them from your local pharmacy. They're just these little, very soft microfiber lens cleaning towels. Now, just a suggestion. When you are on the go, I like to use lens wipes. This is going to keep me from using my t-shirt or my beach towel that has sand on it and scratching my lenses. So I like to keep these lens wipes on hand. You can get these again at your pharmacy in the eyeglass area where you buy your eyeglass cleaner and your repair kit. Now, what I like to do is I like to keep a lens wipe in the bottom of my eyeglass case, so that way while I am out and about, when I go to put my eyeglasses back in the case, I can rinse them at the beach or in a restaurant or wherever, and then I can use the lens wipe, and that way they're clean when I put them away, so that dirt, any kind of sand, any kind of dust or abrasive is not going to scratch my lenses. Okay, so speaking of cases, we want to have cases for our eyeglasses. So when we put them in our purse or when we put them by our bedside table, we make sure that we're protecting both the lenses and the frames. Okay, so let's get to the cleaning part. Now, I want to clean my eyeglass lenses. The frames are already clean, but I want to make sure that the lenses are as crystal clear as possible. So I'm going to spray the lenses, and then I'm going to use my microfiber towel, and I'm just going to wipe the lenses gently. Now, you know, this is clean smart, not harsh. So just wipe gently and get the any kind of smudges or residue off that the soap and warm water solution didn't take off. Get in by the nose bridge really well, because that's where it's going to be the most grease and grime buildup, and that's where the bacteria is going to grow, and we want that removed. Okay? Crystal clear. Now that supports good eye health. So once we have them clean, we want to put them right into the case. Then Then we can put them right into our dedicated storage space. However, I'm going to deviate from my usual recommendation that we keep all of our items in one dedicated space, because we often have areas in our home where we do specific tasks or hobbies that we use eyeglasses to see better. So one would be like in the kitchen, cooking, reading ingredients and recipes. You may want to have a spare set of eyeglasses in your kitchen area. It could be in where you do most often your cooking. Then have specific areas where you work on crafts or hobbies like sewing or knitting or scrapbooking or craft work of any sort. You can have an extra set of spare glasses in that area so that when you go to sit down to do your crafts and you realize I don't have my glasses, you don't have to get up again. You have a spare pair that's clean and ready to go. Another good area is where you read. So if you have a particular cozy reading chair or a cozy corner where you read your magazines, your books, you do research, wherever, on your desk, wherever you read, you want to have a spare set. Now, one of the most important areas that you're going to want to put a spare set of glasses or a magnifying glass is where you store your medications. Now, remember, we've already cleaned and organized our medications, and we want to make sure that they are safely stored away from children and pets. I want to make sure that I read those labels properly, so I want to have a set of glasses nearby. So I just keep a small extra set of glasses, and these are just readers, in my box where I store my medication so that I can have a set of glasses handy, because it's really, really important that you take the right medication at the right time. So reading those labels is really important. You can also set a magnifying glass in there to help facilitate reading those labels, but whatever you choose to do, you want to make sure you are able to read those labels accurately. Okay, I'm going to finish cleaning. I'm just going to do a few, so because you get the gist of this. I wouldn't spray too much spray on it. Again, make sure that your cleaner is appropriate for any kind of specialized coatings that you have on your glasses. Also, I want to say that if you like to, scroll before bed or watch TV before bed, I do recommend getting a pair of the blue light glasses. This is going to filter out any light that's going to activate your brain, so we don't want to disturb our sleep cycle. So go ahead and get a pair of specialty glasses that you keep by your bed, so that when you go to prepare for your bedtime routine and you're going to do a little bit of scrolling, or you might be texting somebody good night, I love you, good night, you use your specialty screen time glasses so that you don't disrupt your sleep cycle. That's what these are. Again, make sure your cleaner does not disrupt the coating on your specialized glasses. So now what you're going to do is create a dedicated space in which to store your glasses. Now you want to keep all of your glass cleaning supplies and your microfiber cloths and your lens wipes and your cases where you store your glasses. So this could be a drawer, it could be a bin, it can be a basket, it can be a box, any place where you feel like you're going to be able to. So now easily access your glasses, your cases, your cleaner, as well as your repair kit. Couple more things that I'd like to say before we move on to contacts. Number one, just to recap, always, always wash your hands while you are handling your glasses, because you don't want to put bacteria back on your glasses. You want to clean your glasses, specifically focusing on the areas of the nose bridge and where the temple meets the frame, because that's where that bacteria loves to hide. We don't want to encourage any kind of bacteria near our eyes, because that can lead to conjunctivitis. But also you want to make sure that your eyeglasses are clean and crisp, and your lenses are absolutely perfect to see through, because that's going to support good eye health. Speaking of eye health, if you haven't had an eye exam recently, you want to schedule that appointment with your optometrist so that you get a eye health exam, as well as any updated prescriptions, because that is going to support your long-term eye health. Also, we want to get into the daily habit of, at the end of the day, before we retire for the bed, we want to go ahead and rinse our glasses and let them air dry, or use your lens cleaner to clean them. Also, don't ever dry wipe your glasses. Rinse them first, and then use your lens cleaner or your lens cleaning wipe. Lastly, if you are going to do screen time before bed, use a specialized glasses with coatings to help support your sleep rhythms. What are you going to do with your eye frames that you don't want? Sometimes we invest a whole lot of money in our frames, and then we realize they're out of date. We want to change style. What are we going to do with those eye frames? You can always donate them to the Lions Club. You're going to collect eyeglass frames, and then they are able to put lenses in and give them to children and adults that can't afford prescription glasses. That's a worthy cause. So before you toss them, consider donating to the Lions Club. Now, if you have really, really expensive frames and you're sure you're not going to use them, you can always sell them online. All right. Now that we have covered all things about our eyeglasses, maintenance, cleaning, and creating a dedicated space in which to store them, let's move on to contacts. So now we're going to move on to contact care. Now this is like really, we have just upped it a notch in cleaning and keeping bacteria away, because now we are actually putting items right in and over our eyes. So we have to maintain our contacts in sanitary, germ-free, bacteria-free environment. I'm going to take my contact lenses out, actually, because I'm going to rinse this case, and I'm going to put them right on my clean flour sack towel. But in order to maintain our contacts, we need to clean these lenses. So before we start, I want to make sure that we keep our contact lenses indicated right and left eye. I have different prescriptions for both of my eyes, so it's really important that I keep my right eye separated from my left eye contact. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my right eye contact out, and I'm just going to lay it on this clean, very clean cloth. And then I'm going to take my left contact out, and again, I'm just going to gently lay it on this very clean cloth. So I don't scrub or rub. Some people say to scrub your eyeglass. I don't. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take this old solution and I'm going to just dump it out. Make sure that my case is nice and clean on the inside. And I'm going to refill with my fresh lens cleaning solution. I'm going to just gently pick up my contact lens and I'm going to pop it back in, and I'm going to make sure it is totally covered with solution because we don't want them to dry out. Perfect. Then close the case. And then you're going to put these wherever you install your contact lenses. So if it's in your bathroom vanity, you want to put them where that they are going to be safe and not knocked around. But guess what? There's another step here, folks. While you're wearing your contacts, I'm going to use a different case right now. I want to show you how to clean your case. So while you're wearing your contacts, you want to kind of clean your case too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some contact cleaning solution. I'm going to close the lid and I'm going to shake it around. I just want to make sure I have all the germ and bacteria out of the case. While I'm wearing my contacts, I just want to go ahead and clean my case. So I'm going to take that, I'm going to dump it out. I have a little bin, and then I'm going to dry it upside down. So I'm going to let it dry while I'm wearing my contacts, and then when I go to put my contacts, take my contacts out, I'm going to put some new solution in. There you go. Also, just make sure with your optometrist that the solution you're using is a solution that is good for your contacts, just in case you have specialty contacts. You just want to double check. It's important to let your contact lens case storage device dry thoroughly as to prevent any bacteria or mold growing inside your contact lens case. Okay, so since I'm kind of pressed for time here, I'm going to go ahead and dry this one out because I don't want to close it up while it is still wet, because I don't want any bacteria or mold to accumulate or develop. So now I'm going to close it, because now we're moving on to what do we need to do. I suggest having a dedicated storage for all of your contact lens items. So for your contact lenses, for your cleaning solution, for your cases, and you can even put your cleaning towel in there. That way, when you go to put your contacts in, you have your towel. It can all be laid out so that if you accidentally drop your contact out, it'll land on a clean towel. So that is my best advice on how to clean your contact lenses. Now I'm going to give you my extra organizer advisor tips, tricks, and strategies and suggestions that I haven't covered so far in this video, so that we have all the information we need in order to keep our eyeglasses and our contact lenses in great working condition, because it's so important. So just a couple of additional tips from me about your eyeglasses and your contact lenses. For your contact lenses case, you may want to replace this every 3 to 6 months. This is not a long-term purchase. This is like a it's almost like a rental. You want to replace it frequently because you don't want any kind of buildup, and that cleaner sits in there, and we don't want any of the plastic to affect our contacts. So another thing is you want to make sure that you have a good routine for cleaning your eyeglasses and contact glasses daily. So rinse the glasses before bed. Go ahead and clean the lenses, put them in a case, put them by the bedside. If you're going to use glasses at night for screen time, go ahead and have your specialized glasses so right by the bedside so that you don't disrupt your sleep cycle. Make sure that when you put your contacts in, you let your contact holder dry out while you're wearing them. Do that every day. Put new solution in. This is going to be the best practice for keeping your contacts in bacteria free and supporting eye health. So don't sleep in your contacts unless your contacts are specifically designed and your eye doctor, your optometrist recommends sleeping in them. Don't shower with them. Don't swim with them. So keep maybe even a travel case so that if you're heading to the beach or going swimming, you want to make sure that you remove your contacts first. So keep an extra case in your purse with maybe just a little bit of a travel size solution. Don't top off your old solution. Use fresh solution. That's going to be the best practice for maintaining healthy, clear contacts and not having a bacterial or mold issue. Don't keep your contacts clean. It can definitely increase your risk of an infection in your eye, and we don't want that. Okay, so those are my best suggestions for you for taking care of your eye health by keeping your eyeglasses and contacts in good working condition and those lenses crystal clear. That is it from me, the Organizer Advisor. I am so happy you stopped by today. I hope you learned something in this video. If you did, please drop it in the comments. And also consider subscribing to my channel because I have a ton of videos to help you to totally enhance your happiness and transform your life. And I'm happy to be a part of that process with you. So until I see you next time, this is the Organizer Advisor signing off with a big kiss and a wish for you to be well.